Welcome everyone to the DomJake Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob.
By the way, this is going to be a special episode. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Dominic.
Can you elaborate on why this is going to be a special episode?
Easy. It's going to be pretty much improvising, you know? Whenever I say a sentence, you have to use the last letter of that word. Like the last you have to use the last letter of the last word.
Damn, Dominic, that seems pretty cool. How did you think up how did you think of this?
So, well, it was inspired by some Nickelodeon show, although they have the idea of what we're doing, but it's not exactly the same thing.
Golly, well, I just caught you in a lie because I'm the one who created this idea in the first place.
Easy, right? It's an easy idea. Well,
As always, right? So, this one's entire goal is basically to make it so we can have a full conversation while also pretty much listening to what the other person is saying.
golly gee, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Otherwise, it'd be very easy to just write out a script and just kind of go along the plot points. We just really want to know exactly we just want to know what it's like to actually have an improvised idea like this. It's going to be hard. We're going to stumble our words. We're going to mumble. We're probably going to have dead air. But this podcast episode, the idea of it is to limit that, if at all possible, in any way.
Yeah. Well, we have to do our best, right?
True that. True that. Now, I guess since this is an improvised episode, basically, anyway, what, how was your dinner today?
Yeah. Well, I did not really have much of a dinner, but it was more of a late lunch, but I'm probably going to eat something a little bit later.
Really? How later do you think?
Kind of like, I don't know, 10, not 10-ish, but I don't know, 8 o'clock-ish, sort of like a late dinner.
Really? An 8 o'clock dinner? I mean, that seems pretty well. What do you think it's gonna be?
Elaborate what you think.
Killing it. You're killing it, man. You're obviously listening to every word that I'm saying, right? I'm trying to hold back my laughter here. It, this is gonna be a freaking funny ass episode, man.
Nailing it. Nailing it right now. Yeah, right. Well, I don't even know what I'm going to really have. I'll think of something.
God, well, I can see that you're kind of struggling with the challenge, and I kind of am too. But what I can say is, we had a like linguine and clam sauce sort of deal, and it was a pretty nice one. I had to kind of cut back on what I was going to have originally because of the fact that, if we're going to be sitting here for, I don't know, an hour or two just focusing on sentences, I don't want to put a pause in this and then you know, take take a dookie like in the middle of recording. Yeah, that's just not a pleasant one. Not at all.
last time we were talking about that, I remember it was back in high school when you were talking about doing. Oh, yep, I am struggling.
Great content as always, man. We're just two bumbling idiots online, right? Like just like every other podcast out there. Everyone that has two, right? Everyone's always like bumbling idiots with like farts for brains. No offense, but it's kind of true.
Easy as it sounds, it ain't so easy. It really isn't.
Yeah, not so much. But um in terms of any technological news, you know anything that came out recently?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, besides hearing so much about electric cars and I don't know, I've heard a lot of things about air fryers is kind of replacing a lot of like other cooking items. In terms, I mean, since now we're talking about food, yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything new technology wise, but yeah.
How haven't you heard anything about the that VR headset that can supposedly kill somebody? Have you heard anything about that one yet?
Technically, I heard about it like a couple years ago, but I haven't really gotten much into it. I've heard a bit about the VR headsets. We have one somewhere, but we don't really use it. But yeah,
How I mean like how haven't you heard about the one that was pretty much on like the Twitter trending page for like a good 2, 3 days, like last week? Um, it, its whole concept is if you die in the game, you die in real life. So, uh, you heard about that one yet? Or can I go on a tangent about talking basically exclusively about that headset as a concept?
try explain that to me in a little more elaborate manner. I don't know. That just sounds that just sounds like it was a little made up. I don't. Just sounds like it was kind of made up, like in a video game or a movie. But try telling me more about it.
The concept is actually not too far off from that. You did say it sounds like it came from something from a movie or video game. It's not too far off. In is gonna stamp me on the internet a certain way, but you know what? I'd probably wear it. Um, in Japan, there is this craze called anime, right? That's just an animation style. Uh, in the West, we kind of refer anything that's made in Japan as that blanket term, but over there, they call, everything that's animation is anime over there, right? So technically, Minions are are anime if you think about it. Well, you don't have to think about it because it is an animation sort of style. Um, I'm going on a little tangent here, but I think like you know how Back to the Future was like a movie franchise that was made in like the 80s to 90s, but it's about like the 2000s, like 2010, I think, right?
Try again. I think the last, like the recent date that it showed was 2015. They traveled 7 years ago, pretty much. I don't know which. I don't know like what time. I don't know. I mean, I don't know which movie that was in, but I don't know. So as you were saying,
God, what was I saying? No, I was just thinking of words that started with G because that's the whole concept. But regardless of our interesting improv idea, um, the concept of, a movie from the past or a story from the past explaining something from, something that's far off in the future, that's similar to me writing a fictional book that's set in 2040, right? We're obviously not there yet, but eh, maybe I get things right, maybe I get nothing right at all. But um, that sort of concept was done back in, except not too far off in the future. It was more like a 10-year gap sort of thing with this show. I mentioned it on Rick's Weekly Rant, my episode that was there, but it is called Sword Art Online. You may have heard of it, you may not have heard of it, but if I was to give you like a cliff note, spark note sort of summary about what it is basically all of these people buy a VR headset, they log into a game, and they find out there's no log out button. And if you die in the game, you die in real life. It was basically set in like September, October of this year, but it was written like, in 2018, so like not too long ago, but also not too recent. Um, so anyway, someone decided to make that a real thing, making that thing into reality.
Yeah, wow. Interesting to hear. Kind of gives me Ready Player One vibes out of that, or Metaverse. Yeah,
Easy to easy to compare the two of them, right? Ready Player One is basically the Western version of the same story, right? Um, it's but it is one of those things. In the show, how it works is like if you die, you get injected through like your brain. It basically like stabs your brain with a needle, and after it's injected, you're basically clinically dead. Um, they didn't do that with this one. Essentially, what they did with this one, actually, you know what? I want to get your input on this. What do you think they did? Because they didn't do an injection thing. What do you think this real life company tested and made their headset do if you die in the game?
mm, oh, excessive as it sounds. I don't know. What do you mean by you say testing? What do you mean by that? Like, do they like find people they just test?
Oh, I wasn't. Wait, I broke the rule. Shoot. Oh,
Oops, I did it again.
uh, what do I mean when? Can you repeat what you said?
Damn it. Okay. Did you say something about what do you mean by testing? Like, I wonder who they test what they tested this technology with, like random people in Japan.
No, actually, what you were thinking of it wasn't exactly what I was getting to at all. What I was asking you was, how do you think they implemented the killing somebody in real life with a headset? Because it wasn't an injection that happens in real life. What do you think happened in real life? Because so far, I don't think it was tested with anybody technically, but I wanted to I wanted to ask you just predict what do you think the method was.
So what I think it could have been is some kind of some electronic, I don't know, some electric current going through your like nerves or something, kind of emulate pain.
Not too far off, actually. It essentially is strapping a bomb onto your head, basically. Like as soon as you flatline in the game, it is basically emitting an electric current through your whole system that kind of cooks you, kind of cooks you. Real big it, real big it does.
So I can see this being something used in like a death row sense. Like, yo, you have to play this game. Like, I don't know. I could see that being a thing in jail for any. Instead of being in the electric chair, you have to play this game and it kills you if you die.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah. No, that doesn't count. Um,
Trip,
Elephants.
tripping.
No, I don't want to do that. Shit. No, I was kind of ragging on you for not coming up with these, and I'm here stumbling like an idiot too. Uh,
Oh yeah, we are trying too hard.
Definitely. I'm kind of thinking of like Elder Scrolls, right? Like, have you ever seen like the speed runs of the Dark Souls, Elder Scrolls, or like Elden Ring type of games, like those very hard, like Skyrim ones?
Sadly, not too much, but I've heard of Skyrim, but I never really heard like big details about it.
Time will pass by, and you'll probably see something pop up on your recommended. But uh, those games are very difficult. Like like it is an accomplishment if you beat the first boss without getting hit once. Like that's hard. But some people have gone like far enough to actually complete, I think, all of the games without getting damaged, and I think only one or two people have done that. So it is an interesting thing, but imagine someone requesting like Animal Crossing or something like on death row. It's like, oh well, I'm never going down. How would that person do things? But like if you get stung by a bee, by a wasp, you pass out, or you get stung by a scorpion. Yeah,
Not my kind of thing, but I can only imagine being implemented in other games. Or how about have that technology used in Grand Theft Auto? If you get shot in the game, you get shot. You'll be dead in real life. Or you get stabbed in the game, you'll probably bleed internally.
yeah. I mean, a technology like this is, I don't think, going to be sold, at least in the common World Wide Web, but I'm pretty sure it could be out there in the dark parts. Have you ever been on the dark web?
Hmm. Best way to say it is nah, barely. Not really. No. I mean, maybe we've had viruses, but not. I haven't been on the dark web.
Ooh, you boy. Well, I also haven't been on the dark web really at all. Um, I've seen like a video that was in depths about it, but like Like apparently the dark web is not what the media puts it out to be. It's basically like there are sites on the dark web that it's like it's not anything that really couldn't exist in the real web. It's just like there could be stuff that's like, oh, I'm buying insulin for cheap, right? Like it is something where it's like, oh, well, it can exist, but like there's probably some laws around not having it be on the real site. But yeah, um, feel free to insert a topic here.
Excellent. Now, oh yeah, like we were talking about in a previous podcast, we were talking about like, okay, like is this technology going to be first sold like starts out as one little pirate like like one company makes it, only they can make it, but then as time goes on, like other companies start making whatever, making the technology popular. Maybe this will be like 10 years from now be popular and start coming in the West.
True, yeah. Like back in the day, there was well, okay, not too long ago in terms of history, but it wasn't like within the past 5 years. I think it was like 12 or something years ago, but I can't exactly say when. Um, there was a there was an invention that someone made. It was a water powered car. But of course, the big gas companies, they want you paying for their services. So those expensive, like those oil tycoons, basically just bought this water car and it just like got locked up in the vault or something, right? Like it's not even gonna be in the market likely unless if it is this underground scam sort of idea. But like they bought something just to make money, even though they don't have to, sort of deal. So like it's the same sort of thing, right? If someone makes this virtual reality headset that can emit electricity through someone's cranium, it's probably going to be bought out by someone. Uh, but the only difference is, in this case, it's probably going to be a great thing that somebody buys it out instead of, you know, somebody just letting the real market go through with this whole thing. Like, imagine everybody already being trampled over in Black Friday shopping deals, just trying to get something that can do this to somebody. It's, it's weird, man. I I just don't get Black Friday in general. Uh, but yeah, you are right. I'm pretty sure like it could start up in somebody's garage or somebody's lab or whatever, maybe in a university, and then it could progressively get larger and larger and larger. It might be something where it's like the best gaming can be done with this headset because there is that gamble that you might not be there for the next time you play it.
Thinking about it, not sure if it's doesn't sound like the best experience to have. Oh yeah, like imagine go being at someone's funeral and like saying, "Oh, how did you?" Be like, "Oh, how did this person die? Oh, I played a video game and it struck the guy's brain. He's dead now."
Whoa. Yeah, just imagine like you do go to their funeral and it's like it's an open casket one and you just see like electrodes that are like just fused. Yeah, they're like stuck into the crowd. If a movie hasn't done that already, that's a gruesome scene, man. That's messed up.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think there's worse. I think there's more worse deaths than that. Or imagine like trying to, yeah, trying to touch the casket while praying, and then you accidentally get shocked by the casket. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, with I can only imagine like a Mr. Beast sort of video. Like if a Mr. Beast video uses this technology, like last one to beat, I don't know, some sort of hard game, or some sort of PvP battle royale sort of type deal. Last one to survive this gets a brand new, I don't know, Tesla or something, right? Like, shoot, man, Mr. Beast is like a king. I remember like back in middle school, I think, like seventh grade, at least for me, um, there was a certain Don K that introduced me to this guy who just started counting from like 1 to 1 million or something, just counting in one stream. And then out of nowhere, this guy blows up, and now he's buying a burger joint, and he's also like probably buying a grocery store, and he's giving away an island. All he did was count and say things from the dictionary like 6 years ago. That's that's fascinating. But like imagine Mr. Beast using that technology for sadistic, evil ways.
Shocking. I can only. I don't know if you remember. There's like 3 a.m. channels. I could see them using that technology, like J Station, Arcade Craniacs.
What does Arcade Craniacs end on? Is that an X or is that like a CKS?
So I think it's um um a CS.
CS, okay. Um, So whenever people say I nearly died when playing this game, not clickbait, that's actually true. If they were using this VR headset, they and just strap in, just have a good time, or don't have a good time ever again, right? Like just an endless thing. Uh, it's weird, but this one can kind of be like more of like a technology sort of episode. What are your thoughts about artificial intelligence?
Hmm. Um, um. Oops! I think I messed up. Easy as that sounds, I don't know. Artificial intelligence. It's kind of still in its infant stage, I believe. Like it's still not. I still don't think it's as widespread as people may think it is.
So, how widespread do you think it is, though? Like, in terms of the world's population, how many people do you think at least have heard the term, artificial intelligence or AI, right? How many people do you think, in like a percentage of the 8 billion people?
8 million people. Well, I don't know, I think it's like I'm probably like 10, 20%.
10, 20%.
Or I don't know if not higher. Because I mean, I'm sure at least a couple. I don't know. I'm sure at least 50 people have heard of it, but 50% of people. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think 50% is probably actually more accurate than, 10%. Like 10 or 20% have heard of it. Like, how many people do you, do you think we're living in the 60s, right? Like, where only a small set amount of people have heard of this one thing because there is no internet or any coverage on this. But but yeah, artificial intelligence is, I'm gonna say, sure, it's still in its infancy stage, but it's an infant that's learning how to walk now and actually talking a little bit now. It's not just, fresh from the oven. It's not just 2 minutes out. It's not being cleaned off of all the blood. It's it's already starting to walk and talk.
Killing it. We're killing it. Well, I don't know. I just think it's. I'm sure we've all heard of artificial intelligence in like a lot of sci-fi movies from the '60s and '70s, but I think it's getting to a point where now I think we're starting to see it in. I don't know, like in the like I don't know, any like I don't know. You start to see a lot of. I don't know right now. Can't think of anything off the top of my head of what's it's being used in right now. I would say, I don't know, in the medical field.
Doctors and nurses, yeah, I mean, actually, surgeons, I would assume, could end up using this, but also, at what point does it mean that we don't need a surgeon anymore because this artificial intelligence knows every diagnosis that any human already knows. It already knows how to successfully do all these things as long as we teach it, of course. If we don't teach it, it'll probably not know. But a form of our AI that we already have been using is is those things called Hey Google, Hey Alexa,
Artificial
okay,
intelligence.
okay Google, okay Alexa, play Despacito by Louis Fonsi. No, no, but like Siri and Cortana and the dreaded Bixby are all examples of artificial intelligence. Yes, there is a narrator kind of saying different lines. That's the start of it. There's a lady who is the Siri voice, right? She is Siri. There have been some interviews and stuff with her, but that's a type of artificial intelligence. But more more than that, back when we were in senior year, yes, it was kind of in its real infancy stage. But do you remember whenever there was like I think it's a Mozart week, maybe it was a Bach week. I don't remember who it was, but Google did this thing where it was like celebrating one of the classical composers. Do you remember that interactive activity?
Yeah, nah. I don't know. It's been a while since I've it's been a while since that happened, so I probably don't remember much about it.
True, yeah. I mean, it's like 3, 4,
That was like 4 years
maybe
ago.
5 years. Yeah, that was quite a bit of time ago. But the idea of that program was okay. This program was taught how this specific composer composed things. And what you were able to do is you were able to make a medley, not a medley, a melody. And this program would automatically like put in, a bass part and a harmony part. So it kind of inspired by that same classical uh, composer. So you could literally like put in, as long as you mapped it yourself, it wasn't like a MIDI thing, but as long as you put in your own medley, you could technically have all star, but like in the style of artificially intelligent composers, right? Like that was 4 years ago. And now there is, I think it's called Songbird, but I'm not too sure if it is. Um, where is it called Songbird? I don't know what it's called, but it's this thing where it takes like the first 10 seconds of a radio song and just completes it based on what it heard. It's not gonna, do the whole song like probably how it's meant to be heard on the radio, right? But it will take the first 10 seconds of Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up, and it will give you something that sounds like it could work with it.
Tries too hard to do it. Well, I guess it'll do its best to complete the song. But I mean, I think I don't know. I've never really heard. I don't know. I haven't heard about Songbird in a while, but I think it does that. So I guess you wouldn't have to use something like Fiverr to get some random person to like just do a composure that you want, or use GarageBand.
So Songbird isn't. I don't know if. Well, once again, I don't know if that's what it was called. I'm talking about like a technology that came out like a year ago. Um, I'm not talking about that Google special thing, which I think you still do the Google thing. But with a lot of these artificial intelligence things, you kind of have to sign up like 3 months in advance, and then like they kind of vet you or whatever after you wait through the waiting list. Then you get access from all of these things, but there's more than like simple things like that. Heck, even on an app that I have like a picture artificial intelligence sort of thing where you put in a prompt and it will usually come out with something that looks decent. Like, I mean, the hands, they haven't perfected the hands yet, but really, like, some of these artificially intelligent made pictures, they're pretty good works of art. And some of them don't even have to be like an art piece. Some of them look like genuine selfies, like actual people. Yeah, there was also like a site maybe that came out 2 years ago called This Person Doesn't Exist, which is kind of the same deal. Like, there's this clip of this guy who could do different voice impressions, but he kind of or he kind of did like a deep fake sort of technology, and you would almost believe that this guy is actually the people that he's doing. Like his impressions might not be, perfect. They're pretty good on their own, but they might not be perfect. But just because this program made him look like these people, it, it really helped sell the idea that he's actually these people. Um, that's the whole deep fake sort of thing. Um, that's that's some scary stuff. This artificial intelligence. It it is something that we don't truly understand yet, but the people who have like a little bit of knowledge can they go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's definitely people out there that would use artificial intelligence. I don't know, against, or yeah, like we mentioned, like they'll use it in a sadistic manner, or they'll probably create. They could probably use artificial intelligence to create a bomb or something. You can't take. It's what happens when you give artificial intelligence to anybody. Gotta give it to the people who are actually always have some knowledge to it.
True, yeah. Because it is one of those things where it's like, do you really criticize the thing? And I'm not going to say what the thing is actually called because, if we're posting this anywhere online, which we eventually are, a lot of these platforms don't like this three-letter word that starts with G. But if you give somebody a thing like that, is it the thing that injures somebody or the wielder behind it? I mean, okay, the algorithm doesn't care if you use the word sword, so I'm just gonna say sword. If you give someone a sword, is it the sword's fault that it stabbed something, or is it the person's fault for holding the sword? Right?
True, true. Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Hump day is Tuesday. It's not Wednesday yet, but
Tuesday's
uh,
today, but tomorrow will be.
uh,
Well,
so wait, you said well.
well,
Let's see.
how I don't know. How are we doing so far on this whole challenge? I mean, we kind of improved from a little bit, but it's also at the same time no.
Oh my, I mean, like, I'd like to say that I can do this challenge as long as I'm saying random words that, start with the same letter. I mean, we're trying to make it a cohesive story with actual thought behind sentences. So that makes it harder. I think I'd be able to just throw out all of the sense and just say words that start with the same letter. But whenever it comes time to convey an actual message, eh, it's kind of hard to do that. But forgetting about that challenge, it is one of those. It is one of those hard things to nail down. Actually, this just popped into my head, and it was like pretty much over most of Twitter, like 2, 3 weeks ago. There was a case of somebody putting an artificially intelligent created image into like a competition sort of thing. Like, let's say the town hall does like a harvest festival sort of thing, and a part of it is just an art competition or a photo contest. Um, Somebody won first place with a painting picture that they just put in a prompt into a machine and told the machine to make this thing. Um, they won first place over people who actually painted and actually went and took a real photo. Like, do you think? Because I have thoughts about this. That's the whole reason why I brought up the AI, artificial intelligence idea in the first place as a conversation. What do you think about that person? Like, should there be any rules? Is that person free to just do that again and again. Uh, what are your thoughts on that whole event? Because it actually did happen. It's not just like a clickbait article. It is a
Uh,
thing that happened, I believe, in Indiana, but it could be wrong about the state.
mm, my, oh. You, eventually, uh,
Son of a bitch. The, the whole idea was to make it so we don't have dead air, and here you are given like 30 seconds of just silence.
eventually I'll think of something. So I don't think, I don't know. It's an interesting event.
The whole thing that I was bringing up though was I might be able to rephrase it since I was able to get away with saying the, right? Because that starts with a T. But I'll rephrase it a little bit. So, how do you think there should be any punishment, any rules, anything about the person who took first prize? And it was like a money thing. It wasn't just like, oh, your name gets put on the poster. Um, who won first prize over people who actually put in effort just because, you know, they decided to put in an algorithm and paint me a picture of, a river. Do you think that person who won first prize should be punished in any way?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if they find out they're using that kind of thing, I don't know. I could see a disqualification.
Nice, yeah. Like it. I mean, disqualification from that round, from that uh, contest, that specific contest, because I'm sure there's probably different mediums too, where it's like, oh, here's the best photo and here's the best painting, right? Like, but like, I feel like in the future, if something is being used with artificial intelligence, there should be like different classifications almost, like have a separate competition for the people who utilized artificial intelligence and who didn't use it in any way. That way, you could kind of have the best of both worlds, right? Where it's not like, oh, everyone else painted this over 3 weeks, and this bozo just spends 3 minutes typing out a specific prompt. Like, at the same time, it's probably something, it's probably just like cooking in a way. Like, all of these people are making actual fire, like fire in their fireplace, and cooking it with real fire and stuff like that. Whoa,
Oops.
stuff like that, versus the one person who decides, hey, I'm just going to use the stovetop, right? Like that might be the same sort of idea where you're just using your resources to your advantage, but at the same time, this person didn't even say that they were using artificial intelligence. It came out after they had won. Like I think $50, which it's not a lot, but it's also a prize. Um, it's it's a slippery slope for that regard. Um, like there are already people who are trying to copyright people's YouTube videos, right? They're flagging them down because they have a song that kind of sounds like theirs. But you can't really own these notes. You can't really do that because there's only so much you could do with it. I'm going on a music tangent, but it is kind of related because if you put an artificial intelligence algorithm behind a website that can flag your content and can review it, things can be set up for the worst. Like how many times have you heard stories about your favorite creators getting copyright strikes or getting flagged, reported for things that they didn't copy from. They just did something and someone mistook it for something.
Great thing. Great point. Well, I mean, you you hear plenty of people getting flagged for little things like that for everything. But back to what you were saying earlier. I mean, I get what you were saying. Oh, when we were talking about cooking, it's like, oh, you said to cook it one way, and this person decides to cook it another way. But oh, if the product's great, but you still get a prize.
Excellent point. Yeah. So that cooking thing, it's the reason why I'm stumbling now isn't because I'm trying to think of the challenge. The reason why I'm stumbling now is because artificial intelligence in general is a really gray area. It's it's not something that somebody can just say, here are the rules, here's what's allowed. Because yeah, it's just hard to narrow down this like that. Like I'm trying to think of like examples of the same thing being used in a good way versus a bad way. Um, okay, here's one. Yeah, you ever get those Amber Alert things that are on your TV or something like right? Like you get a message saying, "Oh, somebody was last seen in this location, and here's what they look like." You've seen that, right?
Too many times I've seen it.
Too many times you've seen it, yeah. So,
Over like, yeah, throughout most of my life, I've seen so many Amber Alerts.
so yeah. Whenever it comes to that, you would agree that if somebody was able to use Google Maps or like a satellite sort of thing to find this missing person, that's a great thing, right? So then you can find someone who possibly was kidnapped, maybe tortured, just based off of this last photo that was taken. That's amazing. But in a similar concept, if someone was using artificial intelligence to just find where a person is, just in general, just to like dox them, like, oh, this person disagreed with me on, I don't know, what flavor chicken wing is the best. I'm going to dox them. I'm going to harass them. That's a bad thing to be able to just, from this one picture, know where somebody is. Yeah, sometimes you don't even need artificial intelligence to do this. Like, I was telling you a few months back now about GeoWizard, right? Where this guy, it was obviously vacation photos, but it's kind of scary that he was able to accurately pinpoint some of them exactly to the point, just based off of one vacation photo and some light like searches on Google. But you could find exactly where they stood, all just because he's good at using like geographical locations. He's good at Google Maps. He's good at GeoGuessr. He's good at like basically finding himself throughout the world. And
Damn.
he's not even the best at that. There are people who like you can send them anywhere in the world, like on a Google street map view, right? And they could be in black and white, and they could see it. They know exactly where it is, or generally exactly where it is. They
So
don't
yeah, that
know.
just sounds. Yep, that just if that doesn't sound like stalking, I don't know what it does.
So stalking, though, that's a powerful thing. Like the Geo Wizard guy and the other people who are great at just playing GeoGuessr. That's not exactly stalking, but it just as easily can be. Like this person was testing his worldly knowledge on, let's say, someone took a picture near, you know, Yosemite State National Park, right, up in Washington, and it just looks like a forest, right? Somehow he could probably find exactly where that was, given enough time. Of course, there are some pictures where it's so ambiguous, but a lot of the time he gets close, scarily close, and he's not a stalker. But imagine someone who was. Imagine someone really wanted to find where you were, had no clue who you were, so they couldn't like go the Facebook route and like look up your name or go anywhere else online just based off of one photo. They tell you exactly where you are. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Does kind of
Yeah,
get creepy. Well, anyways, to change the topic now. Anyways, what's everyone's plans for Thanksgiving?
God, we're doing the stereotypical. What's your Thanksgiving plans? Honestly, just probably sticking around here.
E- Easy change right there in topic because it's right around that time. Yep. Well, since we talked a lot about artificial intelligence and GeoGuessr, yeah, I figured I'd enter some of the topics I wanted to talk about too. Since you talked about your stuff.
Feel free.
Hmm. Enough said. Anyways, well, I don't know what I'm doing so far, but I have family probably, but probably gonna be like every year. I don't know what we're doing for Christmas either.
Really? Yeah, I mean, Christmas was one of those things where it's like back in the past, it was super family heavy. Like I mean, it wasn't Christmas Day, but on the eve, we always basically hosted like a big family get together on Christmas, right? But family stuff happens, and we don't exactly do that anymore. That used to be one of those things where it's like, oh, it's cool. I haven't seen this person in this house, wearing a Christmas sweater, and like in a year, right? But it was also the same sort of thing with Easter and some extent even like Thanksgiving, because like we had this thing where it's like different uncles, or in the case of my mom, right? Um, different people would host different holidays. That's kind of typical when it comes to a lot of people. But ever since, let's just say, ever since we had one less family member, that whole idea kind of stopped a little bit anyway, because she was kind of the glue. But in terms of Thanksgiving, it's honestly gonna be uh just us pretty much lazily just sitting around and waiting for waiting for Dad to basically do the whole meal basically. Like he has to put aside like 6 hours just to deal with a turkey, only for it to be gone in like 5 minutes, right? Like where's the time go, right? But what do you think you're gonna be doing?
Gonna probably get up, watch the parade, even if I'm even interested in that anymore. Probably gonna have family come over, probably aunt and uncle, maybe, I'm not sure. But I don't know. Instead of turkey, we're gonna have chicken. But I don't know. That's just how we are as a family. Christmas Eve, I'm not sure what we're doing, but I used to go over to my uncle's house every Christmas Eve and see some cousins I haven't seen. Like that's not on Christmas Eve, but I don't know. We haven't done that tradition in a while. But I don't know. We'll see what we're doing.
God, yeah, that's probably just the thing that comes with getting older. Eh,
Right. And yep.
eh, it's weird.
Yeah, I'm right. And yep, and we're not getting up at 6 in the morning, like opening up our presents anymore like we did as kids, but that's what happens when you get older.
Right, like it's gonna be lucky if I get up before 12 o'clock, just as it is. I mean, yeah, you'd have more luck asking me to stay up until 6 than get up at 6. Like, it makes me exhausted just thinking about getting up that early. Uh, but yeah, Thanksgiving. It, when it comes to like your chicken, though, like how many of them do you get? Because they are relatively smaller than turkey. But so we usually just get one turkey, and that's usually enough. We also have leftovers of that. I would imagine you'd need at least like three full chickens, right? Like how many do you get?
Trying to think here. I think it's. I don't know. I think we get like one or two. Not. I don't really. I mean, this is only once a year, so I probably wouldn't really remember much. So maybe I think we just. I think it's like one or something.
God, just one chicken?
Well,
Like
probably maybe two. Oh crap. Um, nah, not one. Maybe two.
oh yeah, I mean like when it comes to chicken sizes, I would have a hard time believing that it is just one.
Excellent thing to think about. I don't know. I'm not. I don't really pay too much attention to the sizes, but I don't know. I think we. I don't know. I mean, I think it's because like we have like variety of foods, so we like probably would get one. So not just chicken. So we like probably have pasta.
A pasta? You're having a pasta on? Oh, I guess that makes sense. You are basically Italian. So, I mean, I guess pasta Thanksgiving does make sense. The most that we would have is like a pasta salad, or like a macaroni salad sort of deal. But yeah, honestly, nothing really big. I kind of forgot about the Macy's Day Parade too, but eh, that's kind of what happens whenever you have just yeah, I don't want to say small family, but let's just say disconnected because there used to be people that kept everybody on the same page, but those people are no longer with us. So it's kind of hard for any of us to actually clear time and spend time with everybody again. Eh, it's weird.
Mm, don't know how. Don't know what else I do, but I don't know. Since yeah, we're Italian, we get we like our pasta. And I think we have like corn and shepherd pie. Hmm.
Easy going, it seems. I mean, thinking of how elaborate our uh, 10, 12 years ago types of meals would have been whenever we went to people's places. Whenever it was a family thing, it was pretty elaborate, but maybe not so much now because of that reason. But
Not so
I don't.
often. Yeah, not.
I mean, I don't like you know, dwelling on the the bittersweet that much. Yeah, I
Uh,
could kind of I could feel that the two of us are kind of getting a little bit on the tired side. I almost I can almost feel because I think both of us within the last few minutes haven't exactly been doing the rule. Like we've been kind of sitting here just with dead air, which is the opposite intention of what what it was supposed to be. I thought this would help us. This is only hindering us.
Sounds like this will get a lot of laughs when this gets uploaded. People are. I can just see people like react. See anyone reacting like, oh, this is an awkward silence moment, or this could. I don't know if you remember YouTube poops back in the day, but I could just see people. And I could just see them like memeing us, or I don't know.
Well, uh, I mean, I feel like this one has to be pretty much uncut. This one feels like it. We have to leave like the 30-second pause in because it might not be as magical as if I just, you know, stitch it properly. Uh,
Yeah.
so, so
Yeah.
we're gonna basically have an hour-long episode, which if it's not that interesting, nobody's really gonna go after it. Not that anyone's going after it in the first place, other than me on my other channel. But I'm sure maybe some people are listening, but at the same time, we're not that consistent. Inconsistency is apparently key. We're just
Yeah.
not consistent.
Try being more consistent. We'll probably get more attention and more people listen. Then the more views, more listeners we get, and become more popular. Well, and also we gotta try our best being ourselves as much as possible.
Easily, I think we can do that, and I think we actually today with this one, it feels like we were being more genuine, even though we were, stumbling around, acting like idiots because we're trying to think of, what letter starts with, E other than like excellent, right? How many
Excellent,
times
easy, elaboration.
elaborate? But if anyone's old enough to drink, I am very curious if you took a shot every single time we said excellent, or yeah, or what's another one that we did? Uh,
Right.
right, right. Yeah, that's another one that we did a lot. But just with those three, I think someone was is going to get knocked out just because of that.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, as soon as you're old, you'll be old enough pretty soon, and then yeah, I'm sure if we did this, yep, one of us will probably mess up the one of us will mess up our equipment trying to after we finish recording.
God, yeah. Actually, I drink every time you hear God because I think I said that one a lot. Uh, but
Touche.
but yeah. When it comes to the challenge, I think maybe next week, or I should say next time, we don't need to do this game, this challenge. We might be able to get away with a mostly improvised thing, though. I think,
Um.
and I'm going to leave this in. Like this part, I'm not going to cut out. When it comes to the production, I feel like sometimes we should let anybody who happens to be listening or watching or whatever in on a little bit of insider news. But next time we record, maybe we could do just a bullet list, not a script list, as something where you would see on like a flashcard sort of deal, right? Like something where it's themed. I do like the if we ruled our own kingdom. I do like that one. However, there are parts of it where it's like I could listen to it and it's like, we're obviously reading off of something. This one, I could tell you weren't reading off of anything. And I could tell I wasn't reading off of anything. But
God no.
yeah, our brains are fried. Um,
Dampen my brain with a cloth, get the oil out, and yeah, try to give it some rest.
true. I drink every time you hear the word true too. Oh, but
Oh yeah, that, yeah.
yeah, that's another one. Um, but no, shoot, what was I getting at? I was getting at something there. Uh, giving a glimpse of behind the curtain. That's what this part is for. I don't want to say it's a segment, but I'm not going to cut this out uh, because I do believe that everybody who's happening to listen should get a little glimpse of what's beyond the line. Uh, we are probably going to next time. I mean, I'm the host this time, so Dom, you're probably going to be the host next time. Uh, we're probably not going to be so script heavy, but we're also probably not going to be super improv. Exactly like I said before, it's probably going to be like a high school presentation, right? Where your teacher's going to, you know, mark you down a grade if you're looking down at the paper too often. But like you could look at your bullet points, but as long as you're not like just looking at the slide, that sort of deal. Um, I think this was a cool experiment. It might be something like taste trades, where we do it every now and then, but just doing it like once, I could tell it's hard stuff. So if we did this again, it would have to be like after 2, 3 months at least, just to rejuice our brains. Because I feel brain dead now. I don't know about you, but I feel brain dead.
Uh, think we don't you think we should probably at least now? I guess now we can kind of stop, and then we can just talk normal.
Let's do that after we say our conclusion.
Next time, we will not be struggling with our words.
So next time you can expect to probably hear us without all these fumbles.
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tomorrow. No, nothing's happening with this channel tomorrow, at least. Maybe we'll upload this tomorrow, but I don't know. So, uh, chrysanthemum,
What?
the thing ends in an M, so I wanted to get the next sentence start with an M. I don't know.
Make this make more sense next episode.
Elementary, my dear Watson, is what I would say if I was Sherlock Holmes. But of course, I am not Sherlock Holmes. I am just I am just brain block homies. Um, so would you like to set me up for a conclusion? Because I'm going to say the conclusion, but you should set me up with one.
Excellent podcast, I would say, I guess. If I would even consider this a normal episode. Well, this has been an interesting episode of the DomJake Podcast.
True. So, without further ado, I will say a quick word or two.
Okay then. What's your word?
Dicks.
So I see. Interesting words. Or word.
Dick.
Kill me, please. No, don't. I will not. Don't do that, actually.
Thank you for listening to this episode of DomJake Podcast. Join us next time. Have a great one.
All right. Oh, peace out. Peace out.